Anime is our preferred form of amusement, so why not learn more concerning the Japanese culture with it? I had a head start with an additional recent article, The Situation for Including Social Notes in Anime Localizations, so I have actually clearly been thinking of the impact of anime on our understanding of Japan as a, mainly, Western audience. This is why I'm presenting you with our top 10 series dealing with elements of Japanese custom. I attempted to make the checklist as varied as feasible, as well as also learned a point or two while making a note of our searchings for. I hope that you will certainly likewise learn aspects of Japan you didn't recognize and also appreciate our recommendations. Number 10. Misetsu. Mafuyu and Fubuki imagine coming to be a famous comical duo, as well as performing on stages all over Japan. Signed up with by Nayura, Rin, and also a lot more adorable women, they sustain each other. Their humorous journeys and undeviating passion for funny is inspiring as they set on coming to be Owarai Jainin, comedic duos. Owarai is a great deal like stand-up funny, however it is performed in duos. This is the dark horse of our checklist. Regardless of its lower rating, we decided to include it due to the fact that very few understand about Owarai, a kind of Japanese funny, which Misetsu. Opening act handles. Think of Charming Complicated, an additional popular collection, which does not explicitly take care of Owarai, yet a Japanese audience would promptly recognize Risa's and Ootani's comical routine as such. Owarai actually means to laugh or smile, as well as is generally seen on TV, as a warm-up between programs. Owarai is the modern-day equivalent of manzai, a conventional form of double-act funny performed by males. Misetsu dares to use this property with charming ladies, developing a program similar to Lucky Star in its moe aesthetic. The characters are created by the Lucky Star designer after all. Offer it an opportunity if you like comedy and also cuteness. For even more detail on this tale, you will locate the link in the summary. Number 9. Kabukibu. Kurogo develops a kabuki club in his institution, but has problem attracting new members. Kurogo matured loving kabuki movie theater thanks to his grandfather. However, various other youngsters understand very little about this conventional form of Japanese theater. Kabukibu shows us his efforts to make more people curious about kabuki and to act on the stage. A lot of us already understand about kabuki, combining dance and also dramatization. It is a kind of cinema coming from the 1600s. With all male troupes, kabuki relies on the actor's mastery of various kinds of having fun. Kurogo is determined to maintain kabuki amongst the young. As we follow him and also his classmates, we get to find out more concerning the different methods, as well as renowned plays. There is likewise significant personality advancement, with a protagonist that seems cookie-cutter initially, yet turns around our expectations. For even more detail on this tale, you will certainly locate the link in the summary. Number 8. Nitabo. Nitaro is a blind shamisen player in 19th century Japan. Coming from a humble history, Nitaro wouldn't normally have the ability to perform the shamisen, however the transforming times he lives in to permit him to conquer these obstacles. This is the tale of a gifted blind artist who thrives, and makes it through, to the point that he establishes the Tsugaru style of shamisen having fun. The premise of Nitabo is not uncommon. A young person manages to come to be leading in his field after consistent effort. Yet the setup is special, as we experience 19th century Japan, as well as the crumbling down of the old methods, with the country's progressing westernization. Nitaro commits his life to his craft and comes to be a legend. Nitabo is an engaging film with beautiful music and strong characterization. We learn more concerning the shamisen, also, so what's more to ask? For more information on this story, you will certainly discover the link in the description. Number 7. Shuyako Hyakunin Issue, Utakoi. Yes, there is an anime regarding a 100-poem collection from the Heian period. Utakoi is a series of charming stories with a mix of tragic and also great endings. Each tale depicts real important people of the moment, consisting of the poets themselves, as well as the scenarios that led them to create their writings. We witness the morals and also hierarchies of the moment, and also experience world-famous stories like the story of Genji. Utakoi is influenced by standard Japanese poetry from the Heian duration, 79411185. It uses its source material of enchanting verse to show various expressions of love that appear resonant also today. Among the very best historical anime of the past years, Yudokoi is beautiful to view. Each episode begins with verse recited by the protagonists, setting the tone for the tale to adhere to. Have a look listed below. For even more detail on this tale, you will certainly discover the link in the summary. Number 6. Hyuge-mono. Embed in Edo period Japan, Hyuge-mono reveals us just how the tea ceremony, among the oldest Japanese rituals, was carried out by the samurai of the moment. Furuta Sasuke, a vassal of warlord Nobunaga, dedicates a fantastic part of his life to improving the tea ceremony. Furuta studies under a prominent tea ceremony master as we witness what occurs behind the scenes in between powerful planners. Hyuge-mono went mostly undetected when it came out back in 2011, however its tiny and also committed fanbase speak highly of its special concept. A character-driven show, Hyuge-mono is for fans of historic anime and also impressive tales. It has actually been contrasted even to the traditional legend tale of the galactic heroes for its depiction of its personalities, its huge actors, national politics, as well as conflicting worths. For even more detail on this tale, you will find the link in the summary. Number 5. Chihaya Furu. Chihaya Furu presents us to Chihaya Ayase that is stressed with the game Karuta, a card video game based on Japanese poetry. The players have to match cards with expressions on them to cards with images. Karuta requires wonderful memorization skills as well as Chihaya is determined to end up being a pro. Despite the fact that she had Karuta buddies at a younger age, she battles to finish a Karuta group in secondary school. Will she succeed in taking part in the nationals? Chihaya Furu is a popular anime extending already 3 seasons. It is basically a sports anime. Chihaya is your regular lead character that places all their enthusiasm right into their game of choice. For a Western target market, Chihaya Furu might be the only factor they obtained introduced to this widely popular Japanese card game. Chihaya Furu's depiction of nationwide competitors is reasonable since the video game is dominated by girls of school-age child. View Chihaya Furu if you like sporting activities anime, shoujo, or have actually viewed Hikaru no Go back in the day. For even more detail on this story, you will certainly locate the web link in the description. Number 4. Barakamon. Another one of our favorites is Barakamon, the tale of master calligrapher Saisha Handa, that has a negative temper when challenged concerning his capacities. His disagreeable personality places him in trouble when a professional in his area slams his work. Handa breaks and the rest is history. Sent by his papa to Goto Island to cool off and allow the scandal diminish, Handa locates himself bordered by an intrusive yet caring area. Will the pleasant villagers and also young Nara manage to turn this sour calligraphy master into a far better individual? Barakamon shows the rigorous training that calligraphers undertake, how they establish their own design, as well as what it suggests to break with practice. Handa needs to conquer his instabilities as well as address the inquiry himself: why does he exercise calligraphy? Is it because his daddy did it? Is it for praise and awards? Or can calligraphy give him complete satisfaction, improve his life, and also establish him as a member of a caring neighborhood? For more detail on this tale, you will certainly locate the web link in the summary. Number 3. 3 Gatsu no Lion. March comes in like a lion, or Sangatsu, March, as it is known with fans, informs the tale of teenage specialist shogi gamer Rei Kiriyama. Rei has shed his family at a young age and also is absorbed by his papa's shogi rival Masachika Kuta. Rei's capabilities make him stand apart soon, which produces tension within his adoptive household, as Kuta pays more focus to him than his own kids. Rei decides to obey himself as quickly as he gets his initial wage as a professional, but struggles with anxiousness as well as clinical depression, as he births the enormous pressure from his occupation and also due to unsolved trauma. Fortunately, he is befriended by the Kawamoto family members as well as slowly heals. March is available in Like a Lion is an extreme story with shogi in its facility, a game of method that would remind Western target markets of chess. Ray believes that he only has shogi to provide him worth, and in addition to the collection we witness his opponents, and what function shogi plays in their lives, also. This is where Sangatsu stands out. The method each personality is represented is expressed clearly and properly. Who claims that an anime regarding shogi would certainly be monotonous? Sangatsu is essentially an anime about life. With understanding and sensitivity, we obtain a glance of the personality's inner struggles we left seeming like we recognized ourselves much better after seeing the shogi players take care of loss, life, and also definition. For more detail on this story, you will discover the link in the summary. Number 2. Mushishi. Ginkgo is a mushishi, an individual who can see mushi, spirits that exist in this globe yet cannot be identified by the majority of. The mushi are in a method the most basic life forms. They don't credit human values, however instead exist as a sign of another thing, an internal problem, or curse, or perhaps an old custom. Ginkgo interacts with them as well as just steps in when it is essential when an individual or a community remains in risk. Mushisher informs the tale of these creatures that appear in Japanese tradition. Mushisher holds an area in our hearts for its calm elegance. Each episode feels like a short movie, with an engaging plot, and a just as engaging resolution. It is an archetype of just how poetic anime can be as a medium, as it mesmerizes regardless of, or rather because of, its sluggish rate. Via Mushisher, we discover Japanese and Asian in general misconceptions and folktales in an atmospheric setup. We completely suggest Mushisher for followers of Hayao Miyazaki or Natsume's publication of Buddies. For more information on this tale, you will certainly discover the link in the description. Number 1. Showa Jinroku Rakugo Shinju. Yotaro frantically wishes to educate under Rakugo Master Yakumo, considering that he sees this form of traditional Japanese storytelling as his only way to get back on his feet, after investing time behind bars. Yakumo at first informs him off, but as a result of Yotaro's similarity to his old pal, as well as colleague Sukeroku, he chooses to take him in. What begins as a show about Yotaro's attempts to make it as a storyteller ends up being a retelling of Yakumo's tumultuous life together with Sukeroku, their rivalry, as well as deep connection, as well as the role of Konatsu's mommy, Mayakichi, in their lives. Showa Jinroku Rakugo Shinju is a work of art of storytelling, with extraordinary personality advancement and also historical precision. It remains in itself a method of maintaining the art of Rakugo. It should have to be on top of our listing because of its cinematic high qualities, where the Rakugo stories stated by the primary characters reflect their conditions. The importance of this old art form is reintroduced by doing this. Rakugo has been made use of as a story device in various other shows also, like Kabukicho Sherlock, however not virtually as efficiently. Don't miss Showa Jinroku Rakugo Shinju. And there you have them, these are our leading 10 anime influenced by Japanese custom. I completed a diverse checklist with anime of various styles, from tea ceremony obsessed samurai to senior high school shogi prodigies. I have something for every person. But what do you believe? Exist any kind of anime that is worthy of to be on this listing? Let us understand in the comments listed below. Thank you to watch, up until following time.